I agree. I agree. So really, this is about being clear on who you want to be. I always encourage my guys to have a purpose. And in our world, at Diageo Guinness, a purpose is something that gives you deep down fulfillment. It has nothing to do with the job you do. So my purpose, for instance, is, I called out many years ago, probably about 10 years ago actually, to be honest. I said my purpose will be to inspire a new generation of African leaders. To role model those values that people consider as being un-African. So values of what? Values of integrity, of good governance, of accountability. And I arrived at that. Why? Because I was hearing things like, Africans are wonderful people, they are fantastic. But actually, can we trust them to manage big companies? And when I started getting the trust of the owners of businesses, big businesses to manage, I said, oh, I better cause for more of this to happen. So really causing and inspiring a new generation of African leaders is my purpose. And it doesn't matter what job I do, I have that at the back of my mind. You're going to stand for something. Second thing I will call here is about act. I stand in front of you, I say, from my experience, sharing what I've done to date, okay? There's no substitute for hard work. And it's interesting, I was 50 last April, okay? I was 50 years last April. And when people look at me, they say they don't look like 50. You have to know whether they are flattering. Some of them are people that are looking for something from me. So you have to decide on your own. I'm just telling you what they see. So, but the point is, I bloody work hard. My wife has given up on my Saturdays. Most Saturdays, I am in the office. Weddings or funerals or whatever that I attend, 9 out of 10 times, she goes ahead of me. And then I just give a cameo appearance. Like one now. Of course, if you are holding a good position as well, if a person of status in the economy, you are the one whose picture will show the most in the newspapers. So when people say they saw you in the newspaper, you were at a wedding, I laugh. I said, but they will put the HRs before me. But the point is, I work hard. Every once Saturday month, I just drop everything and then try to learn something new. But that's something else I'm coming into. But just act, do something. Okay? Even the whole laziness, being lazy, is completely at variance with an intent to transform yourself or your leadership. You can't say you want to be X, Y if you are lazy. It's just inconsistent. It's completely at variance with it. Let me move on in the interest of time. The third one for me is speech to market, less is more. I hope that if you meet anyone who has worked for me before, they will tell you that this guy is an action guy. Okay? It's interesting because I just don't believe that people should deliberate too much on anything. What is wrong if along the line, when you started whatever you are doing, you make mistakes, you learn, you get up, and just do it. Most times when I go to my office and I see people writing 7 things that they're going to do for the day, I laugh. Those 7 things they write on Monday, come back on Wednesday, it's those 7 things. Come back on Friday, it's those 7 things. Why is that so? They start the first one, they say, oh my God, I still have 6. Let me leave this one for now. They go to number 2. Oh my God, I still have 5 more. At the end of the day, they've done 1/10 of this, 1/10 of that. What about if you pick 2 things? I will never forget when I was marketing director for Coca-Cola. We sponsored an FA Cup competition at the National Stadium. And I was sitting right behind my MD then, some Scottish guy, Ali Wright. And he was sitting next to Governor Marwa, the then military governor of Lagos State. I'm talking 95, 96-ish, something like that. He had just been appointed military governor of Lagos State. And they asked him one question. The MD said he asked him one question. Congratulations, Governor. Now that you are here, what are you going to do for Lagos State? And he said he was blown away by Marwa's answer. This was a Scottish guy. He said, Marwa said to him, listen, my friend, Lagos has a myriad of problems. I am not going to attempt to solve all the problems. But there will be 2 that I will do for Lagosians that I'm hoping that forever they will remember me. Actually, especially, I remember it for them. Now, he said, number 1, I'm going to fix the roads. Now, remember, there had been a military governor before him who said there was no bitumen in the whole world. I won't mention the military governor's name. For those of you that were Nigerians, roads were bad, potholes everywhere. Governor, you don't repent. show me where I can find bitumen. So Manuel said, I'll fix roads. And he said, the second thing I will do, I'll fix security. Well, guess what happened? Shortly after that, bitumen everywhere. Guess what happened after that? Operation Sweep. 2 things, not 10 things. Less is more. Are we doing well? I love this. In interest of time, I'm not going to spend too much. But one of the things I've lived in my life, again, I say that these are personal experiences I'm sharing with you, is that for me, your strategy is your execution. Okay, in the past, and I've changed myself, in the past I used to say to people, make sure you execute your strategy well. I've come back to say, actually, it doesn't matter whether you say that or not, because what the consumers see, what people see outside, that execution, as good or as bad as it is absolutely your strategy. And there's no difference. So instead of spending a lot of time, people tell you at Guinness that if you want to get my attention, and there's a couple of Guinness people here, to get me to sign up on anything, come with a sheet of paper with bullet points to my office. Forget presentations. And that's coming from a marketing person who has done strategy before. Because presentations are presentations. They're not conversations. Your strategy is your execution. If we go out and we say we plan to launch a product that will position as XYZ, the consumers go out and say they are calling me something else. That was your strategy, that's your positioning, not the one you put on PowerPoint. Make sense? Please guys, think about some of these things and the way you reflect on them. And this leading on insights, but trusting your instincts, is also sort of fit into this whole thing about speed to market. Let me tell you that for me as a marketing person, by default, I like to get insights before I make decisions, especially big decisions. But it's not all the time you trust, you do insights. You trust your intuition. Somebody once described to me and said your intuition is your banked knowledge. And there's no way you have an intuition on a subject matter where you are paid as an expert that will be at the same level as a 10-year-old who has not been trained at all. You can never have the same level of intuition. So at times your intuition pays. Do it, just get it done. I remember very quickly I was in Atlanta when I was marketing director for Coke. And they were going to run a Sprite advert and they wanted to get my opinion as a Nigerian. And I looked at it and I said, I haven't done any research, but this is not going to work in Nigeria. Oh, you Nigerians have come again. Every other market likes it, except you Nigeria. Why would it not work? I said, but why would it work? The caption, for some of you, because eventually they overruled me and they ran into this market. Guess what? It failed woefully. For those of you who are in Nigeria, then the caption was, for Sprite, it was, image is nothing. Thirst is everything. Obey your thirst. Drink Sprite. I say that again. The image is nothing. Thirst is everything. Obey your thirst. Drink Sprite. And I said to them, in my country, actually, image is everything. No? The man who is in Moshi, when you ask him where do you live, he says Surulere because Moshi is part of Surulere local government at that time. No, it's true. Image is everything. So you go and put a billboard, everyone says image is nothing. The man who is driving Toyota, when this is a BMW pass, he will hide if he knows the person inside. Image is everything. They put it on the faith. Trust your intuition. I'll move a little faster now. How am I doing the time? How many more minutes? I should go on. Thank you. Measuring yourself against the best is also something that has helped me a lot in my career. I said before that I'm so competitive. Every time I look at myself, it's about what can I do to be the best in anything I do. Okay? Listen, it's important for you as leaders to know the difference between good and great. And for me, I always say to myself, good is not good enough. In fact, there's a Jim Collins book that I read many years ago. I read textbooks, I read leadership books. It talks about from good to great. If you see that book, go and read it. Fantastic. I was talking about fire in the belly. It just gets you to be unsatisfied with whatever you have. Not in a negative way. Please hear me well. But it's all about, you can't be a TAM. TAM. Everybody knows what that TAM is? Well, TAM is tallest amongst midgets. Everybody is 1 foot tall. Then the one that is 1.2 is still a midget, but it's the tallest amongst midgets. You can't create transformation that way. Measure yourself against the best. I do that all my career. My guys at times think I'm very obsessed with that. The next thing is humility. It speaks for itself. I'm not going to say too much about it, but I do know that a lot of people see power and authority. Like somebody says power corrupts, right? Power and authority have to be used in a way that does not create a sense of responsibility. And this is easier said than done. I remember many years ago when I was MD of Guinness Ghana, every time I came out of the car, 3-4 people are struggling to carry my bag. Now, I don't know whether that was because of leadership, because I was the MD, or because of some thought that maybe there was dollars in the bag. But as a leader, you've got to be humble. It's difficult. I am facing that challenge. Because at times you just get into some mood where you just, not because you have power, but just because something needs to trigger us off and you want to show how big or how powerful you are. And I just want to suggest that that's not good for corporate excellence as a leader. Integrity, I can't say any more than that. It speaks for itself as well. The reality is that people will say, probably many people will say to you, Seni is a very smart guy. I like that, but I would actually prefer that they say that he's got impeccable integrity. And I say to people, it's very unlikely that Diageo will tell me to come and manage $1 billion business in my market if they didn't, ascribe a bit of integrity to my character. And I was also somewhere I was speaking. I get to do this every now and then people want me to speak. And I was talking about one of the things that have blown me away since I came was 1 week into my job, I got a call from Dr. Alumni, and he said to me he wanted to host me. I put this in the press when I had an interview. He said he wanted to host me for lunch at the Metropolitan Club. I thought that was very kind of him. I had not met him before then, and I didn't know how he got my number. And when I walked into the Metropolitan Club on the day, there was everyone of who is who in that category of leaders. There was Ernest Chonekon, Faiso Iwere, name that group. And like I said, my wife normally says I'm very bold, and that's the problem I have. That day I woke up, my legs were shaking, because I hadn't seen that group of people together before. And they said one thing to me, and I keep reflecting on that this job you have as the MD of Guinness Nigeria is as much your job as it is a job for Nigerians and Africans. And I said, I get that. And so every time I think about myself, immediately a thought comes to my head about my role in Nigeria and in Africa. And it's really about integrity. Extremely important. Bashono Adesoya, chairman of Nigeria Body Corp, was saying to me one time, he said to me that in Yoruba, and I'll translate that, I'm closing very soon. He said to me in Yoruba, Owo ti mo ni, owo ti o po ni, ti ko de le ton lai. I hadn't heard that before. Owo ti mo ni, owo ti o po ti o le ton. In other words, my wealth is this small, it can never finish. Well, in Nigeria today, people that have so much wealth, guess what happens to the wealth? It finishes. How can you have this little wealth? And it really was the point about goodwill. I'll move on. Last but one. Invest in your growth. I said that before. I happen to be a chemical engineer, like you said. But the truth of the matter is that, to the glory of God, I can read any P&L like the back of my hand, any balance sheet like the back of my hand. In any case, I moved from engineering to marketing as the first African marketing director in this market for Coke. And the point is that I learned very early on in my life to invest in my growth. I do what I call uncomfortable reading. I used to go on the plane and I'll pick any magazine, Economist, African Business, whatever. I'll be reading about mining. And what should take 30 minutes to read will take me 3 hours because I didn't understand. It was uncomfortable. But I realized that after some persistence, what started as uncomfortable reading actually becomes very interesting and you just learn something from that. So for leaders in today's corporate world, never get to a point, this is my experience, where you think, I know it all. Please keep investing in your growth. And the last one, as I begin to get down is, I say come out of the comfort zone. You've heard that many times. But for me, it's really about taking risks. One of the things that has helped me in my career so far is the fact that, well, my wife says at home on a personal level that I'm bold, but I hear a lot in the office. People say that I'm very, very bold. I remember, so they said I was runner-up Forbes CEO of the year in East Africa. Apart from acquiring a new company and taking the business to the biggest in East Africa, I think one of the things that really swung it in my favor at that time was the fact that they had a brand in that market called, you can Google it, it's called Tosca. Tosca is so big in East Africa, it is like your Guinness or any of those big brands here. And it had been in the same bottle for 40 years. When I first met with the directors of my team, and I said I wanted to change the bottle because it was looking old and jaded and aging. And they said, you're not going to try that. Every MD before you came and said that, and when they looked at the risk and what that would lead to, they ran away. I said, I will try it. We did it, they couldn't believe it. That brand is flying now. Brand new bottle, very trendy, really compelling. Everything, every cue that you want as a consumer is in that. It's very successful. Then coming back home, the example I will give is the Super Eagles. When I came back from East Africa last April, July, whatever, to lead Guinness in Nigeria, I got calls from NFF and all that. Please, can Guinness support us? Super Eagles are going to Africa Cup of Nations. I said, but what about other people? Nobody wants to talk to us. We didn't go last year. There's no reason. Everybody thinks that we're going to fail in South Africa. I said, no, I'll support you. Did a conference call, a press conference, supported them, and you know what happened? Watch this. Watch this to see what happened. Thank you. My last word to you is that it's very clear that if you're not making a mistake, that in itself is what?
It's a mistake.
Okay, so since you do something scary, that's how I live my life. And I say, you know what, whatever happens is what happens. And so, a lot of times I hear many of you say that you are stuck in traffic. And I just want to close by saying that maybe you are not stuck in traffic, maybe you are the traffic. Thank you very much.